All right, here in example one, we're going to be identifying corresponding congruent parts. Okay, so we've got two trapezoids here. So one here and one here. Appears to me like they're taking this one and they've kind of just taken this point D and pulled it up here to the top and called it Z. They've just kind of tilted it over on its side. Now, these two polygons are going to be congruent if and only if every single part of them is congruent. So what are the parts? Well, there's the angles on the inside, 4 different angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there are the 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, this side, the shortest side, matches up between B and C and X and Y. The side AB corresponds to WX. CD is the same as YZ, and the biggest side, AD, is the same as WZ. As far as the angles go, angle A is angle W, angle B is the same as angle X, C is the same as Y, and D is the same as Z. Those statements are all found down here. So angle A is congruent to angle W here. A is congruent to angle W. When we say congruent, the reason why we don't use just the equal sign to say they're the same thing is because they are slightly different. Now, what's the difference? Well, the difference is how they were drawn. Okay, we can't really say this is the same thing as that because it's not. It's very, very close, and because it's very, very close, we just use this new word, congruent. We say that they are congruent. You've basically taken this shape and you've changed the orientation. You've spun it around. So like angle A and angle W, they're the same size angle, but they're not the same angle, if that makes sense. Like the number of degrees is probably, I don't know, around 45 for both of these. Okay, the number's the same, but the way that angle's pointing is different. One of them's pointing like this way, the other one's pointing that way. They're pointing in different directions. So we don't say that they're the same, we say that they are congruent angles. All right, so the angles all have congruent pairs, the sides all have congruent pairs. Let's take a look at one where we need to fill in some of that information ourselves. Okay, so we want to say what is the same as angle P. So angle P is this guy. I think that looks the same as angle G. To my eye, this has been pretty much like flipped over. Like if that was a mirror, okay, that's not exactly, you'd have to rotate this one down a little bit. But if you rotated it and then flipped it, you would get from here to here. So to me, it looks like angle P is the same as angle G, or not the same. Let's use the right vocabulary here. Is congruent to angle G. Angle Q is congruent to angle F. Angle R is congruent to angle E. And angle S is congruent to angle D. Okay, as far as the sides go, PQ is congruent to GF. QR is congruent to FE. Make sure we get all of our correct symbols here. FE. RS is congruent to ED. Okay, so very straightforward stuff here so far. SP congruent to DG. Okay, since all of our parts have corresponding partners, we can say that polygon PQRS is congruent to polygon GFED. Okay, I'm going in the same kind of order. So PQRS, I go GFED. You don't have to do it the same order. That's just how I'm doing it. But that's it. For example number 1, we're just identifying the corresponding congruent pairs. All right, on to example number 2.